All right, hey guys, OFD checking in here, and today we're taking a look at a watch from the watch collection. I actually picked this watch up from CW Watch Shop, guys. I actually traded in my Tudor Black Bay GMT towards this watch when it came up on their website. I was really excited about this piece being available, and I'll kind of get into the reasons why I did that as we go through the video. But I wanted to kind of touch really quickly on Tudor, the brand itself. I mean, I think most of you guys know that Hans Wilsdorf started this brand as an offshoot from Rolex watches back, I do believe it was in the 1930s when he did that. And it was really to provide a watch, an affordable watch for the general public out there. So yeah, Tudor watches are still very expensive watches, but instead of using, in-house Rolex movements, they were using ETA movements back in the day. Now I know that Tudor within the last year or two has started using their own in-house movements, which is really, really cool. But this is one of the original releases, the Black Bay Heritage. The first release was, of course, the red one back in 2012. I've had that on the channel, guys. Had the pleasure of actually owning that watch, and I kind of wish I still had it in the collection, but this is a great replacement for that one. After the red one came out, they brought out the blue version, and so the talk was, they're got to bring out the Black Bay Black. Everyone was really excited about it. Tudor held off till 2015 to release this watch, and from my understanding, the watch was only produced for about 5 months in 2015. You can buy a similar watch nowadays to this watch, the newest Black Bay Black, which is available from Tudor as I speak. You can pick them up. Now, there is quite a bit of difference. That one is running the in-house movement. I can't remember the caliber on that movement, but it is an in-house Tudor movement with 70 hours of power reserve, and it is a thicker watch. It's a much thicker watch because of that. So the only other one available out there that looks very similar is the new Black Bay 58 that they've released that looks very similar to this. The difference is, of course, being that the font on the dial, the writing down here at the bottom is all straight, including the self-winding portion. And instead of having that beautiful Tudor rose at the 12 o'clock position, the new versions have the shield. So really cool watch. Like I said, these were only produced for about 5 months back in 2015. And from what I can tell, looking at Chrono 24, Bob's Watches, pretty much most of the luxury sites where you can pick these up, they're really, really skyrocketing as far as the prices go. These are going for at least $1,000 over their original asking price. I think these were originally going for $3,400 was the original asking price for these watches on the bracelet. You're lucky to find one for $4,400 used out there right now, to be honest with you. They're really, really going up in price. So talk about the watch real quick and the sizing. You have a 41 millimeter case from side to side. Of course, it's a Black Bay 41, so we know that. 49.6 lug tip to lug tip, so it's just under 50 millimeters on the watch. This is the ETA version, so it comes in at a really nice thin 12.8 millimeters from the bottom of the case back to the top of the sapphire crystal on the watch, which I really like. And then you have a 22 millimeter lug opening. So I've owned the Black Bay GMT, as I said, and it was a thick watch. It was right at 15 millimeters, just a little over 15, I do believe, millimeters of thick. So it wear kind of top heavy on the wrist. Another thing I wasn't super fond of on that one is the faux riveted bracelets. I know that's been a big deal out there with people with the Black Bay 58. I don't do a lot on forums or on Facebook, but I've heard there's a lot of grief out there that people are giving Tudor over those faux riveted bracelets. This has got the original, just oyster style bracelet, screwed links. So it's very simple, very clean, works really, really well. So now, I just absolutely love these watches. The dial layout is very reminiscent of the original 1954 Rolex Submariner, especially with the red surrounding the pip up there. It's just a really cool classic watch. You've got this gilt dial on here, which they used in the classic Rolexes back in the day. Very, very good looking piece. And like I said, gotta love that rose up there at the 12 o'clock and that smiley face dial, as they call it down there with the self-winding. So gold being used on the hands, and of course the indices, as you guys can see, it's a yellow, I do believe, or a rose gold surround. It looks really nice. Picking up the writing of that Tudor Genève there just below 12 o'clock looks great. 200 meters and 660 feet, so truly a diver's watch. Now, big crown on the watch. It is a signed crown with the rose, with the enamel in it, as you guys can see there, which I think is just really, really cool. I've had the Black Bay 41, the non-bezel edition, and they don't put the enamel in the rose like that, and I think that makes a big difference on the watch. You've got a polished case all the way around here, as you guys can see, brushing on top of the lugs and on top of the case. Looks really, really nice. The bracelet itself is brushed all the way along. You guys can see, now forgive me, it's a little dirty because I wear this watch quite a bit. The Tudor Genève there on the clasp assembly. Taking a look at the case back here. Very clean, is exactly what you'd expect. the bracelet on the watch. And I'm super, super lucky. This watch, I have all the box and paperwork, and this box, or this watch, was originally sold on the calf leather bracelet or strap, which is really, really nice. But as you guys know, it's always a premium to have the bracelet in the watches, and they go for quite a bit more on the bracelet versus the leather strap. But really, really nice looking watch. Let's go ahead and pause it for just a second, put this watch on my 7-inch wrist, and then stick around for the Lume shot, guys. All right, so the 41 millimeter case just fits really, really nicely on my wrist, and especially with that thickness of under 13 millimeters. Like I said, the newer in-house models, they're quite a bit thicker. They will wear top heavy, in my opinion, because that 15 millimeters of thickness. Granted, you get that new in-house 70-hour power reserve, which is great, but you know, no big deal to me. This is running the ETA, and I didn't mention this possibly before, but the ETA 2824 movement. So it's a 25 joule, 38-hour power reserve. It's decorated by Tudor, but it is not a certified chronometer movement. So this watch runs really good. It's running about +5 a day, which is not a problem for me. Actually, my Rolex Sea Dweller runs +5 a day. But just to give you a comparison in the size of the watches, this is a 40 millimeter on the Rolex Sea Dweller, the 16600, and 41 on the Tudor Black Bay Heritage there. So you get an idea. The crown guards on the Rolex make it look like a bigger watch a little bit to me, but very classic looking dive watches, from Tudor. I really like what they're doing with the Heritage line. If you guys can't find one of the smiley face ones, I do think the in-house models are nice watches. They're very, very well made, but I do like this ETA version. Another thing I forgot to do is turn the bezel for you guys. Best bezel action in the industry, bar none, especially for some reason on these Heritage models. I've had the newer one, I've had different ones with the locking bezels, but for some reason on these original Heritage models, the way the bezel worked, the way the action on it, it's just absolutely incredible, and it has a sharper click when it locks in at the 12 o'clock position there. So, all right, guys, let's pause it and check out the Lume on this bad boy. All right, so just from the studio lights, and what you would expect from a Tudor is it's already glowing. It's glowing like crazy. And this watch, I can tell you, has incredible lume, some of the best lume out there I've ever had on a dive watch. So very, very nice. Now, guys, I'm not usually one to talk about watches and investments, but I do think that even at the prices these are going for now, if you can get into one of these original Black Bay Black, the smiley dial, the rose dial, it can be considered an investment. I do believe because of the limited number of these watches out there on the market, they're just going to keep going up and up and up in value as people really look to find one of these. You'll have a watch, with the newer one, you have one that looks a lot like it, but it's not this original. And I do think this is I'm going to be honest with you guys, I think it's a better looking watch than the in-house versions, and I think it's a better looking watch than the Black Bay 58 with their silly riveted bracelets. I'm not really a fan of it. And I do like that the Black Bay is a 41 millimeter. I mean, the Black Bay 41, that's what they've always been. So I know some people need a 39, but I'm a big fan of this watch. So, all right, guys, that's been the review of my Tudor Black Bay Heritage 79220. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up down there at the bottom. And if you've not subscribed to the OFD channel yet, please do. Please do. Thanks, guys.